Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is well. I wanted to share a little tutorial that one of my subbies asked me quite a while ago, and I've been making a list of things. You know, my to-do list that just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. But I wanted to show, she had asked me how I did these. Back when I missed probably a year ago, when I did the little Whispering Rabbit journal, I made some little envelopes and some little tags, and I did this blanket stitch on those after I collaged, and I still have this Curious George one that I've been holding on to because I love him. But I just collaged the envelope, and then just to add, and this was before I got my sewing machine, and I still really love this, just to add some interest and some texture. I did these little blanket stitches on envelopes and then these little pockets. So I still have one pocket left in my stash. And so what you need, or what I use, and you can use whatever you have, is I just use a pretty good size, I think these are like darning needles, and I also use these for binding my journals. So it doesn't have a huge eye on it, but it's a pretty good size needle. And then I use this this old thread that my aunt gave me. I have this huge spool of it, and some people call this tobacco twine, because I'm pretty sure they use this you know, when they're burning tobacco and tying tobacco up. But it came off of an old weaving loom, I'm pretty sure. Probably out of a factory down near where she lives or whatever. But she had several of them. And if anybody wants any of this, let me know, because you know what? I will never, ever, 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 ever use this all. But it's really cool, and it's pretty sturdy, and I like the thickness of it and the texture of it. So that's what I use to do these. Now you can use embroidery thread, and if you want a good size stitch, you know, it just depends on what you're working on. If you want to just do it on a tag, if you want to do it on something small, you might want to use something that's not as thick. But you can use embroidery thread. You can use baker's twine. I wouldn't suggest anything really thick. You can use yarn, a thinner skein yarn, but I wouldn't use anything really thick because it's hard to get through this paper, because this is what I'm doing here, I used a paper bag. So this is just a little paper bag that I've decorated, and I'm gonna add some stitching down, and I'm just gonna add stitching down here. So now this is my version of it. You know, if you're gonna do a blanket stitch on fabric, there are tons of videos out there on how to do this. I am not a professional, don't claim to be. So anyway, so what I did was, I have this little bag, and this is thick, so this is a little bit harder to punch a hole through. So I'm going to punch my holes before I do my stitching. If you're doing fabric, you don't have to punch holes before you do stitching. And if you're using a thinner piece of paper, you know, I don't know, you might not. But this is thick, so I'm going to punch holes. And I use this little foam board. I just had this little piece of foam board. I think that came with a... I don't remember what this came with. But anyway, you need something that, you know, when you poke the holes, it's going to go through. And then, if you can see, and probably not close enough, but if you can see, I'm just about a 1/4 inch apart is where I'm poking my holes, okay? So, and I'm just eyeballing it. You can go so far as to measure, you know, just whatever you want to do. So I just kind of decide where I want my stitches. And I'm just gonna do right here on this part. So I've threaded this, and I probably have too much. Here, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. Now, I'm gonna come, since I'm doing a bag and I have the 2 flaps right here, I'm gonna come in on the back side with my knot, okay? So you can hide that if you want to, okay? If you don't want to hide that, then come in, you know, come in the other side. But I can still do this right here, and I can have my knot. You see that? Because I like, this is the look I'm after. And then I'm gonna come back through again in that same hole, if I can get in there, and come around. Now, when this loop gets right here, I hope you can see that. When you come back through with that loop, you're gonna come under that loop and pull your stitch through, okay? So that's the start. And then you're gonna come in from the back again. And there's other videos on this, so you can just go watch, you know, several and do whatever works for you. And then come through this loop, and then it creates that little stitch right there, okay? So you just do that all the way down. Okay. And I hope you can see this. It helps if you have better eyes than I do. If your eyes are stronger. But it creates this really cool, little stitch. And it's finicky if you struggle with your, you know, you get old. I have my glasses on, but trying to do this and then make sure I'm in frame and make sure you can really see what I'm doing. It's challenging. And you see that even though I poke my holes ahead of time, you still have to kind of push through there. But you just go all the way down and you come in from the back. So when I was learning how to do this, and I did watch some tutorials too, because I hadn't done it in a long time. There's some really simple fabric, doing it on fabric. And I'm sure there's some other crafters out there that have done this on paper. So then when I get to the last stitch, so just come back up through. I'm gonna go back around through that same hole. Okay, and then I'm gonna loop this again. And then I'm gonna tie this off. I'm just gonna make a little knot. Well, actually, let me cut this. It's too long. So I'm gonna come in here and make a little knot here, like I did there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take my scissors and cut it off. So then you have this cute little stitch on this little bag. So, and it just, I don't know, it adds some interest. I think they're really cool. And I hope, you know, I hope that helped you. I hope that was simple enough for you to try it. And these really are a lot of fun to make. And you can, this is just a grocery bag, okay, that I cut down and made pockets out of. And then you can do whatever you want to on here. You can do all kinds of collage. You could just put scrapbook paper on here. You can paint on it, whatever. I mean, it's just, you know, in this crafting world and art, just the possibilities are endless. But these were a lot of fun to make. And I hope you'll give it a try. And I think Deb was the one who asked me to do this. And Deb, I apologize for it taking me so long to get it done, but I hope that's helpful. Anyway, y'all give it a try. And thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching. And thank you to all my subbies. I appreciate you. I love you all. Have a good day.